Now, speaking of things that are laughable, the new king of Australia, King Charles III, he's been big on climate change and alarmism. Here's a refresher, something we showed earlier in the program.
It will be a disaster. I mean, it'll be catastrophic. It is already beginning to be catastrophic because nothing in nature can survive the stress that is created by these extremes of weather.
Here's an idea. Those 50 Venezuelan migrants could go and live in Sandringham while he lives in Buckingham Palace or whatever. But look, this stuff of him on climate change has always been nutty. He's been warning about tipping points for about 30 years. But Anthony Albanese says, go ahead, talk it up. That's not what a monarch's supposed to do.
I don't think you'd be taking advice on royal protocols from someone who doesn't want the royal family to have anything to do with Australia. I mean, Albo's a Republican. Maybe that's his angle. Maybe he's trying to undercut the monarchy by setting Charles up. But I just love vision.
That is good. That is good. That's give him enough rope.
Yeah, I just love the vision of Prince Charles as he was then, strolling around the most lush, beautiful surrounds you've ever seen in your life and saying, we're all going to die and this is all going to go away.
It's a catastrophe. He's feeding wine into his Aston Martin, apparently, and he has a couple of days a week without eating meat.
Yeah, the last time I used wine in my car, it was actually a vengeful ex-girlfriend tipping it in there, so I'm not sure why he's hating himself.
Yeah, the wine is normally spilled on the seat, doesn't go into the engine. Now, I showed earlier how Channel 9 missed Liz Truss. They saw her arriving at the funeral, didn't know who she was, assumed she might be some minor royal. It's a sort of mistake anyone could make, but apparently the BBC had pictures of Anthony Albanese and had no idea who he was. This headline says the BBC appears to forget who Anthony Albanese is. They wouldn't have known, of course, who he was to start with.
Well, yeah, both the UK and Australia have had a fairly rapid turnover of prime ministers, but here's the solution. It's easy. We've been using it for years in other formats. Player numbers. Everyone has got a number.
Charles would just be number 3.
Yeah. Commentators just go through their list like the old footy record. Oh, right, I see that, Albo's off the bench. That's great. And all problems will be solved. It might reduce the dignity of the moment slightly, but at least everyone would be clear about who's playing, as it were.
They could just have vests like netballers with their names on the front of it. It would be wonderful.
Goal defence, all that would be terrific.
Prime Minister. Yeah, now speaking of sport, I wanted to mention Buddy Franklin. I reckon this is great news. Buddy Franklin, that will be playing in the grand final against Geelong in Melbourne on Saturday, of course. But I remember when he signed up for this 10-year, $10 million deal, and a lot of people knocked it saying there's no way he could last. Now, I thought he wouldn't last. I thought it was a smart deal, but I thought he'd play for 6 or 7 years and then under the contract be an assistant coach for a while. Well, he's played his 10 years. He's doing an 11th year with the Swans next year. It's fantastic, isn't it? It's
an extraordinary story, and it's not a bad way to end the 10th year, a grand final appearance. Yes. And also, you've got to appreciate what he's brought to the club off the field. Membership numbers soared because of him. Financially, this was a brilliant decision. And again, we had critics back in a decade ago saying, how could this possibly make any financial sense? Look at the membership base, look at the numbers, look at the crowds.
Absolutely. Been a winner for the game, winner for the Swans, that's for sure. Thanks for joining us, Tim.
Good on you, mate. Go Swans.
Yeah, I've got to say, my little fellows are absolutely Buddy fans, and they got a photo with him back during COVID, and Buddy and Nick Blakey were very, very generous with them. So let's hope Buddy has a big one on Saturday. I reckon if the Crows go top, though, he might rescind that extra year. What do you reckon?